Okay, hello guys. The purpose of this video is going to be to go over reviewing solving systems of equations. Yesterday we reviewed literal equations and we reviewed inequalities. So today we want to review systems in preparation for our benchmark. This is the back of your worksheet, number 11. What I'd like you to do first of all is to cross it out and replace it with x minus 4y equals 8. And then replace the second equation with 4x minus 3y equals negative 20. And I'd like you also to replace 12 with negative 3x plus y equals 11 and with 2x plus 7y equal to negative 15. Now in this video I'm going to show you how to solve number 11. And the first thing I want to talk about is we've got to choose a variable that we're going to solve for. And we have to choose a variable that's easiest to solve for. If you look at this x and this y, they both have a number, it's called a coefficient, next to them, which means that solving for them is going to require us to divide, in this case by 4, in this case by negative 3. Both of those would cause us to have a fraction. But if you look at the first equation, I've got a negative 4 in front of the y, but a 1 in front of the x. And if I have a 1 in front of the x, that tells me I'm going to divide by 1, which is the easiest thing to do. So I am going to select this x to solve for, which means I also have to solve my second equation for x. Although it's going to cause a fraction, it's okay. At least in the first one, we did not have a fraction. If you look over to 12, the easiest variable to solve for is going to be the one with the 1 in front of it. Well, that's not this x, that's not this x. And although this y has a 7, if you look up here, that y has a 1. So in this case, you would solve for that y. And you would then also solve the second equation for y as well. So let's go back to our problem. Once I decide for my variable, I like to keep organized. And so I put my equations side by side just to keep them in order. And what I'm going to do now is solve for x. Now, one of the issues students are having is they're solving one of the equations for one variable and another equation for another variable. Make sure once you select the variable you're solving for, then that's the variable you're going to solve for in both equations, not just in one of them. So I'm going to go ahead and solve this guy for x by adding 4y. And the result is going to be x, this cancels, x equals 4y plus 8. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and box that equation in. So box it in, because this is going to be one of the ones that I'm going to be using. Next, I'm going to solve this one for x because I solved the first one for x. I'm going to go ahead and start by adding 3y. That cancels. That gives me 4x on the left side. So I've got 4x, that canceled, equal to, these are not like terms, so I just have to put them side by side. Notice the 3y is positive and the 20 is negative. My last step will be to divide by 4. So I will divide by 4. And yeah, that's going to cause a fraction, but that's okay. I'm going to cancel this 4 here. X equals 3/4 y minus 5. And I'm going to box in that expression because it's the other one I'm going to need. Okay, once I box these in, these two boxes, I'm going to set them equal to each other. And I'm going to use the space over here so that you can see better. I'm going to go with 4y plus 8 is going to equal 3/4 y minus 5. So what that means now is I've got a good equation, but I also got a denominator, which means I got to get rid of it. And I'm going to get rid of it by, I'm going to clear it by multiplying by the denominator, 4. But that means everything is going to get multiplied by 4 in order to preserve equality. On the left side, that's going to give us a 16y. 4 times 8 is 32. 4 divided by 4 cancels, so I have 3y. And 5 times 4 is 20, so that's minus 20. At this step, you need to be really careful because I'm having a lot of students make mistakes solving this equation. So make sure that you take your time. Remember, when there's a border, you got to cancel the variable first. So I'm going to cancel this 3y by subtracting it. That's going to give us a 13y plus 32 equal to negative 20. And I'm going to go ahead and take away 32 from both sides. So I have now, I'm going to come up here so you can see better. I have 13y is equal to negative 52. And I now need to divide by 13. And if I divide negative 52 by 13, I'm going to find that y is going to equal negative 4. So that gives me part of the answer. Remember, your solution is a point, the point where the two equations intersect. So I've got negative 4 here. Now I just need to find x. Well, I've got an x that equals a fraction expression. I don't really want to use that one. I could, but instead I'm going to use the one that doesn't have a fraction. And I'm going to use x is equal to 4. I already know y is negative 4, so I'll replace that with negative 4. Then I'll add 8. I get here a negative 16 plus 8, which of course gives me negative 8. And I found my second variable, x. And that's it. That's all you got to do. So just to recap, you're going to pick the easiest variable. Usually that's the one with that coefficient of 1. Solve both equations for that variable. Set those expressions equal to each other. Clear any fractions. Be really careful then when solving for the variable you do have left over. And once you get a value for one of the variables, go back, plug it in, and find the other missing variable. All right, guys, good luck. You're going to practice on the other 3 and then take your benchmark. We'll see you tomorrow.